Hello, mighty companion. This is Earl Purdy, and I want to welcome you to Hardcore Course in Miracles. And when I say Hardcore Course in Miracles, I'm talking about really hearing how to have incredible, powerful expressions of love. We're talking about how do we step back? How do we step back and let our Creator, the universe, love? How do we let God lead the way? How do we let divine mind lead the way? How do we let God lead the way? We hear a lot about guidance and what our purpose is, but how do we let that higher power actually lead the way? Well, that's what we're going to cover in Hardcore Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live. I'm telling you, we're going to go deep. And so we're going to start out with our centering theme song from Brother John Christmas called We Are One. Hello, every one of you. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for wanting to be true Course in Miracles students and really want to take advantage of my 41 years of teaching and studying the Course so that your journey through the Course can be a lot more powerful. And your journey through the Course can be faster, okay? So I'm here for those who are open to the way that the Course in Miracles comes through me, and those who feel open and who resonate to me as their teacher. That's who I'm here for. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's get started. If you're here to judge, criticize, condemn, please go somewhere else. Please just allow yourself to go to some other person to listen to. If you're open and receptive and you know you love the Course and you want to take advantage of 4 decades on my part of studying the Course, then, hey, you hit the right person. Here we go.
There's a call for God, I see it everywhere. Everybody's running scared, and everything is turning upside down. But the words I hear, they keep coming through from deep inside of me and you. It's telling us that love is who I am. You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Yeah, we are one. Now let's come together and understand that Christ was born inside of every man. He's waiting for us to choose him as ourselves. When you choose him, you know you choose me too. And everyone becomes a part of you. And then you will know that love is who I am. You and me were not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Oh, we are one.
Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the ideas may startle you. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true.
And we're not that far apart. Yeah, we're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Tell me, can you hear it? Tell me, can you feel it? Put your arms around it and know that we are one. Oh, we are one. Yeah, yeah, we are one. Oh, we are one. I am you, and you are me.
We're going to be on lesson 155, Intercourse and Miracles, in the workbook. Lesson 155, I will step back and let him lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let truth and love lead the way. Lesson 155 in the Course in Miracles workbook, page 291, in the workbook, page 291, lesson 155, I will step back and let God lead the way. One of the things that I've enjoyed the most over the last 40 years of studying the Course in Miracles, I love to really focus in on the definitions that the Course in Miracles gives for its own terminology. So the Course in Miracles has its own definitions of the terms that it uses. And my hardcore Course in Miracles classes are for Course in Miracles students especially, people who actually see the Course in Miracles as their path. And we're going to start out with, okay, so how do we step back and let God lead the way? Well, if you follow the instructions and you listen to what your guide is telling you, then you are stepping back and you are letting love lead the way. You are letting the divine lead the way if you listen to what the divine is telling you, and then you do what you're being told. So stepping back and letting God lead the way means doing what, if the Course in Miracles is your path, then, and you see the Course in Miracles as being the teaching of spirit, God, love for you, then to let God lead the way would mean that you are listening to what your path is telling you. The Course in Miracles is my primary spiritual path. And I'm here to be a messenger and a teacher for other people who the Course in Miracles is their spiritual path. A miracle is a correct perception. A miracle is an expression of love. A miracle is forgiveness. It's clear perception. So when the Course in Miracles says forgive, it's talking about correctly perceive. The Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness is true perception. So if I forgive you, it means that I'm correctly perceiving you. It means I am lovingly perceiving you. It doesn't mean I'm overlooking something that I think you did to me. That is not, I repeat, that is not a Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness. So I'm here for those who, especially on the hardcore, I'm going to say it again, the hardcore Course in Miracles classes that Earl Purdy does are for people who are studying A Course in Miracles, reading it, doing the workbook lessons, and want to take advantage of the 40 years that I've been teaching and studying it. So we're going to start out with the first paragraph of this lesson, and I'm not going to rush through it. And I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so thankful to see you all. So the very first sentence says, there's a way of living in the world that's not here. There's a way of living in the world that's not the way everybody else is living in the world, although it seems to be. So what does that mean? What does it mean that there's a way of living in the world that's not in the world, although it seems to be? As you study A Course in Miracles, we're in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles, the Blue Book. Always remember that the Course in Miracles is being channeled. And the Course in Miracles says that Jesus is the author of the Course in Miracles and is correcting a lot of the misperceptions about his teachings. You don't have to believe that. I'm just telling you, that's where the Course in Miracles claims to come from. And I often refer to him as Jesus of the Course in Miracles. And so right now, and then Jesus says, well, I'm your elder brother. I'm more advanced than you. I'm more awake than you. I'm a spiritual being, and I'm here to teach you. I'm here to show you the way to have love and to have peace. A love and a peace that really lasts. A love and a peace that doesn't come and go. So there's a way of living in the world that's not in the world, although it seems to be. My inner guidance is telling me to share with you that just for this period of time, forget about your bills, forget about the things that you think are troubling you in the world, and focus in on this time as a time for you to really focus in on your inner spiritual growth. This teaching is about spiritual awakening, raising your consciousness, waking you up to your true identity. So just for a minute, don't worry, your everyday problems, if you choose to still have them there, they'll be there after we finish. But even though you might not believe it, if you were to allow yourself to focus on what I'm about to share with you, the promise according to the Course in Miracles is that all the other things that you are so concerned about would be taken care of, would be healed. Those problems have already been solved, and those problems would be solved if you actually were to focus in on your spiritual path, your path of awakening. So the Course says there's a way of living in the world that's here, but it doesn't seem like it. Now, you don't change appearance, but you're going to smile a lot more. You're going to smile more frequently. Your forehead is going to be serene. You're going to have more peace. Your eyes are going to be quiet. And do you know that one of the best things about this paragraph is the next sentence? And the next sentence says, and the ones who walk the world as you walk the world recognize their own. So when you are living in the world the way that this workbook lesson describes living in the world, the people who are like you will recognize you. Those who share your spiritual path and your level of consciousness and your approach, they will recognize you. But those who haven't yet perceived the way, those who haven't yet began to focus on their spiritual awakening and raising their consciousness, they're going to recognize you also. But regular people are going to believe you are just like them, the way you used to be before you got on your spiritual path. So when you get on your spiritual path, those who are like you are going to recognize you. Those who are still focused in the world are going to just believe that you are just like them, unless you open your mouth and say something that makes you seem like you're really different. Regular people are going to believe that you are just like them. But the people who are on their spiritual path, those who are trying to wake up to who they really are, those who have the goal of love and not separation, they're going to recognize you and you're going to recognize them. So what did the first paragraph say? There's a way of living in the world that's really not living the way other people live in the world, even though it seems like it. You still look the way you look. I still look the way I look, except that you're going to smile more frequently. You'll be more chill. You'll be more cooled out. And those who walk the world the way that you do, they're going to recognize you and you're going to recognize them. Those who think that we're separate, those who think that we are bodies, those who believe in guilt, sin, those who believe in separation, those who are afraid, those who judge, they're going to recognize you too. But unless you say something, they're going to believe that you are like them. They're going to believe that you're just like them because you used to be just like them. So what is one of the most powerful statements in the Course in Miracles? The world is an illusion. Now, what does it mean when the Course in Miracles says the world is an illusion? The Course defines the world as an illusion, and then it's going to define illusion. It says those who choose to come to the world. Okay, we are souls. We are spiritual beings. We are souls who have entered into this realm. And those souls who come to the earth plane are souls who are seeking for a place that they can be illusions. In other words, for whatever reason, the Course says the souls who come here are souls who are really trying to avoid their own reality. That's really funny. The Course in Miracles is saying souls who come to the world are souls who are seeking a place where they can be separate. They're seeking a place where they can be illusions. And the Course in Miracles defines the body as an illusion. So you could also substitute the word body for illusion, and you would say those who choose to come to the world are seeking for a place where they can be bodies and avoid their own reality. So I'll use myself as an example. So the Course in Miracles says that I originally chose to come to the world because I was seeking a place where I could be separate and I could be a body, and therefore avoid my reality as spirit. Now the mind's going to go, well, why did you do that? If you study A Course in Miracles, if you read the book and you do the workbook lessons, it will explain in detail all the questions that you want to ask me. Those questions are answered in the Course in Miracles. The answer is in the studying of the Course in Miracles. And if you study the Course in Miracles, it will answer every question that comes up in your mind. I can't answer every question that's going to come up in an hour or a little over an hour, and I'm not going to attempt to. If you really want to answer your questions, the best way to do it is to do your own study. Now, so the Course in Miracles is saying the souls who've chosen to come here are souls who were seeking to avoid their reality. But the truth is, we came here to avoid love. We came here to avoid oneness. We came here to avoid the truth. And the Course in Miracles says, yet when they find their own reality is even here, when we find that our God is even here, when we find that God is here, when we find that the truth and love is here, he says, then what you do is you step back. If you're smart, what do? You step back and you let reality, your reality, lead the way. You step back and let your spirit lead the way. You step back and let your true self, your loving self, lead the way. What other choice is really your choice to make? To let your false ideas, to let ideas of fear, to let ideas of guilt, to let ideas of separation walk ahead of the truth. The Course says, don't you know that that's madness? To let the ego, to let the idea of fear and guilt and separation, guilt and sin, to let all of those ideas walk ahead of the truth, walk ahead of God, walk ahead of love. The Course in Miracles says that's madness. To let false ideas walk ahead of true ideas, he says that's madness. And the world is full of false ideas. The world is made out of false ideas. The Course in Miracles definition of the world is false idea. What false idea? The false idea that you're separate from God. The false idea that you're sinful and guilty. The false idea that you are just a body that lives a certain number of years and then you die. The false idea that you lose your loved ones. The false idea that you don't have a higher power. The false idea that you created yourself. The false idea of anger and guilt and grievances. The Course in Miracles says to let false ideas walk ahead of truth is madness. But to let illusion, to let the false ideas that we've learned from the world, to let fear sink behind the truth and let the truth stand forth as what the truth really is, the Course in Miracles says that's sanity. So insanity is letting fear walk ahead of love. Sanity is letting love walk ahead of fear. Did you hear what I said? Let illusion sink behind the truth. Let the ego, let the programming, the conditioning that you've gotten from the world, let that sink behind the truth. And if you said the Course in Miracles is your path to the truth, then to me, that's the same as saying, let your false ideas, the things that you've learned from the world, let that sink behind what the Course in Miracles is teaching you. And then let the Course in Miracles stand forth as what it is. Let the truth stand forth for what it is. Let love stand forth for what it is. That's sanity. Insanity is letting fear and guilt guide you. Sanity is letting love and peace and truth guide you. Then people ask, well, what is the truth? The truth is inside of your spiritual path. The truth is in your spiritual path. So what is the simple choice we are making today? Well, the Course in Miracles says, well, you know, the simple choice that you're making today is the choice between continuing to let your ego guide you or whether or not you're going to let the Holy Spirit, the right mind, guide you. The Course in Miracles defines the Holy Spirit as your loving right mind and your ego as your fearful wrong mind. The Course in Miracles defines the ego as wrong-mindedness and the Holy Spirit as right-mindedness. The ego is wrong thinking. The Holy Spirit is right thinking, right thought. So the choice that we're going to make the choice of whether or not we're going to use right thought or wrong thought. Now, this insane illusion, this experience that we're living through right now of separation, he says that mad illusion will remain a while in evidence for those to look at who chose to come but haven't yet rejoiced to find that they were mistaken in their choice. So people are going to remain some people are going to remain in fear, in separation, because they have not yet rejoiced to find they were mistaken in their choice. See, there are some souls that are here don't realize that they made a mistake in coming here and choosing to see themselves as separate from God and choosing to see themselves as separate from love. Because the Course in Miracles is only talking about, and I'm going to say it again because I am going to keep the Course in Miracles is as complicated as you need it to be, or it's as simple as you need it to be. Over and over it says it's about removing the blocks to love. And it talks about there's only love and there's only fear. That's the only thing that you're ever seeing, ever. There are no other emotions that you have. There's nothing else you're seeing in the world. You're not seeing anything in the world but love or fear. You're not seeing anything in the world but innocence or guilt. You're not seeing anything in the world but some form of peace or some form of conflict. That's what the Course means by love or fear. So some people haven't yet gotten to the point that they realize they made a mistake in wanting to think that they are separate from God and separate from each other. So people who absolutely don't realize that seeing yourself as separate from God and seeing yourself as separate from each other is a mistake. He says people who are asleep, the Course is saying people who are asleep cannot learn directly from the truth. They can't learn directly from God. People who think they are bodies, people who think that they are separate. The Course says people who think that they are separate and believe that they're bodies, these people cannot learn directly from the truth because they are denying the truth. That's why when you try to tell the truth to people who are not ready for it, people who want to believe in guilt and anger and separation and sin, then they can't receive the truth directly because they're denying the truth. They're saying that they're not innocent. They're saying that they're not joined and connected to everything and everyone. So a person who doesn't believe that they are one, that they don't believe that they're joined and connected to everything, then they cannot directly learn from truth. They cannot directly learn from love. They cannot directly learn from God. But why? Because they're denying the truth. So what is it that people who think that they are separate, people who think that they are bodies, people who still believe in anger and guilt and grievances and specialness, what do those people need? Well, they need a teacher. So the Course in Miracles says we need a teacher. We need a teacher. You need a teacher. If you still believe you're separate, see, the way that I make that really simple is that as long as I think I'm a body named Earl Purdy that is separate from everyone else, then I'm still somewhat asleep and I'm still somewhat, I'm needing guidance. I'm needing to be taught that I'm spirit, that my body is merely my communication device. It's through my body that I join minds with other people. It's through my body that I communicate with you. I'm communicating with you through the body. So the Course in Miracles teaches that the body is a communication device. Now, we might be using it for everything else that we want to use it for in the world, but the truth is the purpose of your body is to be a communication device. Originally, your body was made so that you could think that you were separate, to give you an experience of being separate, because in order to be separate, you have to be separate in something. So the body was made so that we could experience separation. Now, if you look at it as if the premise that we are souls who are having an experience of thinking that we're separate in the body. Now, this won't make sense to anybody who's not willing to consider the idea that you may be spirit and you might be something more than just a physical body. Those who think they're just separate human beings, they can't learn directly from what A Course in Miracles is saying. Jesus said in A Course in Miracles that it's not that people who are beyond reason are not people who can understand what the Course in Miracles is teaching. That the Course in Miracles it can be learned by people who are partially, at least partially sane and partially able to listen to reason. So people who are totally convinced that they're separate In other words, if I was to sit up here and talk to you and say, I just think I am just a man, that is my identity, is that I'm a separate man and that I'm a separate black man dealing with all the issues that black men have to deal with. If that was my primary idea of who I am, then what the Course in Miracles teaches would not make any sense to me. So if you're completely and totally identified with your body, that means you're completely identified with the idea that you are separate or that you are a man or a woman. If you are identifying with whatever you perceive to be your gender separate bodily identity, then the Course in Miracles says you're still very much in your ego. You're still very much asleep. So it's not about trying to be a man who's spiritual. It's not about trying to be a woman who's spiritual. The Course in Miracles is saying to us, you are a spiritual being who is expressing yourself through the idea of being a woman or a man or however you identify your gender. If your core belief is that you are a body, then the Course in Miracles is saying that you are still spiritually asleep. But if you see yourself as being a spiritual being, inhabiting and expressing yourself through the body, then your being, your essence, who you really are, is not male nor female. A being truly ultimately doesn't have a sexual identity. It's a being. You are love. You are awareness. You are spirit. You are consciousness. But the Course says, but you have forgotten that, because right now, he says, we are choosing to experience ourselves as separate. And as long as you want to see yourself as separate, then this is a person that won't be able to receive the truth directly. So what do we need? Well, the Course in Miracles says, well, what you need is a teacher. What kind of teacher? You need a teacher who perceives your madness. You need you need a teacher who can see your insanity. And he just said earlier what insanity was. Somebody who can see that you're letting the ego, your fears and your false ideas and your idea of you being separate, you're letting that lead you instead of letting your spiritual identity lead you. So the Course in Miracles calls that insanity. The Course in Miracles calls that madness. So a true spiritual teacher is someone who can see your ego, see your madness, but still look beyond your madness, still look beyond your false ideas to the truth in you. So what I'm learning more and more is, if I'm talking to somebody and they're talking to me as if I'm separate from them, or they're talking to me and I'm talking to them primarily from the perspective of being a man and a woman or a body or separate, then I know that that's their ego and that's my ego. But what I want to do is I want to look beyond your false ideas about who you are to the truth in you. And the truth in you is that you are love, you're lovable, you're loving, you're spirit, and that you are the holy child of God. So no matter what your ego, your personality, your conditioning is saying or doing, I want to look past your conditioning. I want to look past your ego. I want to look past your fear. How do I do that? By remembering the truth about you, even if you've forgotten the truth about you. So even if you think you're a body and you think you're separate and you think I'm separate, I am going to remember that the truth is that we are one, that we are one mind, one spirit. We are one being, one self. So my job is that even when I'm around people who are mad, as the Course puts it, those who believe in their separate identity more than they believe in their spiritual identity, my job as a teacher is to look beyond their ego to the truth in them, because my teacher, the Holy Spirit, is looking past my ego, my fears, my misperceptions, to the innocence and the truth in me. So the way that I'm supposed to relate to you is the way the Holy Spirit, love, my guide, is looking at me. So the Holy Spirit, God, is overlooking my errors, my mistakes, loving me and healing me unconditionally. And I am, as a teacher and a demonstrator, and you as a teacher and a demonstrator, you're supposed to be looking past the conditioning of the people around you. The ego is just another word for conditioning, programming, past learning. Okay, so everybody around you, all they're doing is parroting whatever it was that they were taught, whatever it is that they learned. Everybody is just pretty much telling you what they've learned. And so the Course in Miracles is saying to us that we need a teacher. We need someone who can see how crazy we are and then look beyond that craziness to the truth in us. Okay, take a breath. Now, if you're talking to people who still believe in the world, who still are just seeking power, money, fame, and physical pleasure, the Course in Miracles says people who are asleep, what they really want more than anything else is power, money, fame, which I call specialness, and physical pleasure. So the ego mind wants power, money, fame, and some form of physical pleasure. And so people who believe in the world and believe that the world is the ultimate reality, if the truth demanded that they give up the world, if you told people, well, you're going to have to give up the world in order to be happy, they're going to take it like you were saying they have to sacrifice everything they enjoy and everything that they want in order to be happy. And so it would look like the truth was asking the sacrifice of something that's real. So when you're talking to people who are asleep, who still just believe that power, money, fame, and specialness and physical pleasure is the most important thing to seek, then if you tell them that in order for them to be truly happy, they have to be willing to go beyond that, then they're going to act as if you're asking them to sacrifice something that's real. Now, the Course in Miracles then says there's another type of person, and it says many have chosen to renounce the world while still believing its reality. So I see that a lot in truth students, where they think they've renounced the world. They think they've renounced separation. They think they've renounced fear and the values of the world, but they still believe that it's ultimately real. And so people who have chosen to renounce the world while they're still believing in the world, then the Course says, well, you know what happens with those people? Those people suffer from a sense of loss. And so those people don't allow themselves to be released either. So I'm saying it's an illusion. Like when you meet truth students, they go, well, you know, this is just an illusion, but you see them going to work, you see them going to get food to eat, you see them buying clothes, you see them seeking out other bodies in relationships, you see them following schedules. You don't see them saying food is an illusion and then not eating. You don't hear them saying shelter is an illusion and then not wanting shelter. So people who act like they see this world as an illusion while they're still totally doing everything necessary to maintain it, then this is basically people who are renouncing the world, but they're still believing that it's real. And I see that a lot with spiritual students and people on a spiritual path. Then he says there are other people, and he says others have chosen nothing but the world. So there are some people that's all they want is the world, and all they want is the pleasures of the world and the power of the world and the money of the world and the material things of the world. He says that's just it. That's what they want. And then the Course says, well, you know, those people have suffered from a sense of loss that's even deeper, that they don't understand. To me, those are the kind of people that they've gotten everything that, they got the great house, they got everything that the world offers, and there's still something missing. They got the money, they got the special relationship, they got the nice material things, they got the successful career, they have all the things that the world offers, and yet they still feel a sense of loss, but they don't understand why. Okay, so what did that paragraph just give us? Okay, it says, let's go back. It says, if God demanded that some people give up the world, and then those people would think that that God was asking them to make a sacrifice or something that's real. Then the Course says, then there's another group of people that have chosen to renounce the world, but they still believe it's real. Then there's another group of people that have chosen nothing but the body, nothing but the world, and they still don't feel satisfied. They still feel a sense of loss, but they don't understand why. So those are the paths that a certain group of people are on. But there's another path, and that other path, and that's the path that I want, and I hope it's the path that you want. The Course in Miracles represents this other path. So what is the other path? Well, it says between these paths that I just mentioned, there's another road or path. So there is a path that leads away from any kind of loss. There's a path that leads away from any kind of loss. There is a path that you can be on. There's a spiritual path. There's a life path that you can be on that you never lose. There is a spiritual path. There is a path that you can follow where you never lose. There is no loss of any kind. That's what it says right here. Between these paths, there's another road that leads away from loss of every kind. There is no exception. There is no loss on the path that the Course in Miracles is teaching. There is no loss on the path that any true spiritual teaching is teaching. A Course in Miracles is not the only spiritual path, but it is the spiritual path for a certain group of people. I'm one of those people, and I'm sure that there are those of you who are listening to me and watching me that you know in your heart, you know in your soul that A Course in Miracles is the path to happiness and peace and God and truth for you. And the way that you recognize that you see the Course in Miracles as your path is that you read it, you give it some attention, you study it, you do the workbook lessons, and you apply the workbook lessons to everything that happens to you throughout the day. So the Course in Miracles is claiming that it represents a path that leads away from any kind of loss, and that sacrifice will be quickly left behind on the path that the Course in Miracles teaches you, and deprivation is also quickly left behind if you follow this path. If you follow this path, this is the way that's been appointed for you, and you know who you are. Who I'm talking to the person that this applies to. And the person that this applies to will be the person that feels inspired by what they're hearing. So this is the way that's appointed for you. So what is the spiritual path that's been appointed for you? You are now on a spiritual path that leads away from any kind of losing. You are now on a spiritual path that leads away from any kind of sacrifice and any kind of deprivation. That is the path that you are on as a Course in Miracles student. The Course in Miracles material teaches you how to leave behind any kind of loss, any kind of sacrifice, any kind of deprivation quickly. Did I say that this is the path appointed to you now? Yes, that's the way appointed for you when. This is your path now. What kind of path? The path that leads you away from any kind of loss, the path that leads you away from any kind of sacrifice. You're on a path that leads you away from any kind of deprivation. So, now, what's going to happen? Well, if you're doing this right, you're going to walk this path as others walk. In other words, you're going to seem just like you anybody. When I go to King's Super, the grocery store in my neighborhood, I don't look like I'm different from anybody else in that store, even though I know that I'm probably thinking very differently from most of the people in that store. Probably. You know why I think I probably think differently from most of the people in the store? Because I believe that I'm responsible for what I see. I believe I choose the feelings that I experience. I believe I decide on the goal that I would achieve. And I believe and want to believe that everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. I don't see myself. In other words, I'm walking around in that store. I'm not saying anything to anybody. I'm looking, other than greeting people. But I'm not seeing myself as a victim. There are only two kinds of minds. the mind that sees itself as being responsible for how it's experiencing its experience, and the mind that believes it's a victim and constantly blames other people and things outside of themselves for their happiness or unhappiness. Those are only two type of minds: the mind that thinks it's a victim, and the mind that believes it's a creator and that it's responsible for itself and what it's experiencing. Those are the only two types of minds. So even though I'm probably thinking differently from the way most people think, because I see myself as being responsible for my experience, I do remember when I saw myself as a victim. So yeah, I used to be that way. And as long as I don't open my mouth, then the people around me are probably going to assume that I'm like them, pretty much, in my thinking. So you will walk this new path that you're on as others walk. You won't seem like you are distinct from other people. You won't seem like you're different from other people, although you very much are going to be different from them in your thinking, because you're going to be thinking and focusing on love and truth instead of focusing in on what's not true and on fear. Okay, so the next thing that's going to happen is you can serve them while you serve yourself. So how do you serve other people while you serve yourself? If you're following along with me in the book, I want you to see a little trick reading the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles explains itself and gives you the meanings of what it's talking about as you read it. In other words, it says, now, you're going to walk this path the way that other people walk this path. You won't look like you're different from other people, distinct from them, although you are indeed. And then it goes, thus can you serve them while you serve yourself. What does that mean? We'll just continue to read the sentence. It says, and set their footsteps on the way that God has opened up to you and them through you. So how do I serve you while I serve myself? Then I'm trying to be an instrument to set your footsteps on the way that love has opened up to you. That's what I'm doing right now as a teacher, right? I'm trying to be a means to set your footsteps on the way that God has opened up to me and to you through me. So I'm allowing the Course to come through me, and that's serving you and serving me. Now notice, who am I talking to though? I'm not talking to the people in the grocery store and trying to teach them A Course in Miracles in the grocery store, right? Because that would be me trying to basically absolutely be stupid, number one, for me to stand up in the store and try to teach everybody the Course in Miracles, and that's not something that they want to learn or they're focused on. They're not going to be able to learn the truth from me directly. But who is it that the Course in Miracles, who is it that can receive the truth through me? It's those that the Holy Spirit sends to me. Well, who are the ones that the Holy Spirit sends to me? The Holy Spirit is sending to me those who are attracted to me and come to me for learning or come to me for more information from the Course. So I'm working with you because you want to learn and work with me. You are my teacher and my student, and I'm your teacher and your student. But right now we're playing the role like I'm the teacher of the Course that you're listening to. So I'm not going to try to convince or convert anybody. So I don't even try to talk the truth to people in general. What I do is I try to live it and demonstrate it and apply it to myself. And then I ask the Holy Spirit who I should talk to, and I ask the Holy Spirit what I should say to them. So the Holy Spirit is telling me, higher power is telling me to tell you what the book is saying, because the book is the higher power's word communicating to you in a way that you can receive it. Is everybody with me? So who can receive the truth? Those who the Holy Spirit sends to me. And there are sometimes people who want to work with me as a mentor or a teacher or a counselor, and I can tell when I'm talking to them that I would not be a good fit for them and they would not be a good fit for me. How do I know that? Because first of all, talking to them is not inspiring me or them. that there's a lot of suspicion and fear, and that they are not willing to recognize that what they know may not be all there is to know. So therefore, it's more of a debate, and we're clashing. And if we're clashing at any levels, and it's very rare that it happens, but if it does, then I realize, well, I'm not the right teacher. I'm not the right counselor, because trust is the bedrock of being able to heal and work with anyone. And I'm never going to spend a lot of time trying to convince a person that I'm trustworthy, because a person that doesn't trust me, that's just a person that's showing me that they aren't trustworthy. Or why would they be so ready to focus in on why they can't trust me? And if they were really in touch with their true spiritual being, which is one with my spiritual being, then we would not have distrust anyway. We would have love. We would have trust. So it's really easy to tell who's for you, because who's for you is for you, and who's not, they're not. So the Course in Miracles says illusion, or the body, still appears to cling to you that you may reach them. So it still looks like I'm a regular person in a regular body, so that I can reach the people that I need to talk to. And it looks like you're in a body so that you can reach the people that you are supposed to be the messenger of God to. Yet the illusion has stepped back. Your false ideas have stepped back. Your unawareness has stepped back. And so when people listen to you, even though you look like a regular person, then it's really not illusion that they hear you speaking about. Because now that you want to be a messenger for God, now that you want to be a messenger of love, then you are speaking the truth. You are speaking the things that love tells you to speak. You're speaking the things that the Course in Miracles tells you to speak. And so that means that it's not illusion that they hear you speak of. It's not illusion that you bring their eyes to look at. It's not illusion that you use it's not illusion that you bring their eyes to look on. It's not illusion or false ideas that you bring their minds to grasp. So let me make this real, okay? I seem to be a person so that I can reach you. Yet this idea of me being a separate body, a separate man named Earl Purdy, that has stepped back. And so you're listening to me right now, but I'm not talking illusion to you right now. I'm not trying to get your mind to understand the world, or to desire what the world wants. Because if I'm telling you what the Course in Miracles and what love tells me to tell you, then that's letting truth, God, and love walk ahead of me. So I'm letting the truth speak to you through illusions. You know, like the Course says, nor can the truth which walks ahead of you speak to them through illusions. So I'm not speaking to you in terms of what the world has conditioned you to think, because you're on a road and I'm on a road that's going to lead past the ego now, that's going to lead past illusions now. We're on a road that's going to lead past separation now. We're on a road and a path that's going to lead past bodies now. So you see, you are not a body. You are really not you are not your body. You are not your body. You have a body. You have a body. You have a body, but you are not a body. You are not your body. You have a body. You have a body. That body is for the purpose of joining minds and communicate and sharing love. But you are not that's just like me saying, you're not your car. You're not your car. You're not your car. Your car is a means of transportation. You have to give your car tune-ups. You have to take care of your car, but you are not your car. So telling you that you are not your body doesn't mean that you don't take care of your body any more than me telling you that you are not your car means that you wouldn't take care of your car. So the fact that your body is not ultimately real, and the fact that your body is not ultimately you, then that's all the more reason why you should do everything in your power to support the health and the safety and the vitality of your body. So the Course in Miracles is saying to you that you're on a road now that's going to lead past fear. You're on a road that's going to lead past lack, anger, guilt, and grievances. And you are calling to the people around you in a loving way, practicing the truth, so that they may follow you. Because if you demonstrate the truth, if you demonstrate joy, if you demonstrate peace, if you demonstrate consciousness, if you demonstrate awareness, if you demonstrate oneness, if you take responsibility for your experience, if you recognize that you are choosing the experience, the feelings that you experience, if you recognize you're the one that's deciding on the purposes and the goals that you will achieve, if you realize for yourself that as a creator, everything that seems to happen to you, you ask for and you receive as you have asked, if you are doing that, then you're letting the truth walk ahead of you, and you're going past fear, and you're going past illusions, and you're going past separation. And you are now on the path, and you're moving in the direction of the path that leads away from sacrifice and leads away from deprivation. You're on a path then that you cannot lose. So I'm going to stop here and do a quick recap of what I covered, because I'm not going to rush through this. Do you know why I'm not going to rush through this? Because A Course in Miracles teaches that all you need is one lesson faithfully used, one lesson that you apply, and it could lead you to all the truth that the Course in Miracles is teaching. So it's not about how much information can you take in. It's about, can I remember any of the instructions that I just heard? Can I remember anything that I just heard in this session? Not analyze it. Stop analyzing A Course in Miracles. Stop analyzing A Course in Miracles. If you are reading and studying the material, you'll know that the Course in Miracles itself says within the Course in Miracles that analyzing is of the ego. Analyzing is of the part of the mind that wants to keep you asleep. I put it this way, analyzing the Course in Miracles, or analyzing the truth, is an ego trick that actually destroys the meaning of what you are reading and studying. So it's not about breaking it down and analyzing. It's about, will I remember what I've been told? Now, I would like to say to you that as a full-time teacher of the Course in Miracles, I do it on a donation basis, and I really appreciate those of you who share with me, and I also appreciate those of you who don't. It's okay. But I want to especially thank you and thank those that do. And if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, as I'm also learning how to receive, you can go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. You can use Zelle. You can use Venmo. Zelle, Venmo, the Cash App, and Netflix. Yeah, Netflix. That wasn't the ego. PayPal. And all you need is my email address. And my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. Earl Purdy, Purdy, @earlpurdy.com. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing with me. I appreciate that so much. If you would like to go deeper and would like to work with me as a mentor, coach, counselor, and advisor, and you want to take advantage of my 40 years of teaching and learning A Course in Miracles, and also as a soul purpose astrologer and numerologist, then I do what I call clarity sessions. And if you like to have a one-on-one with me, go to my website, look under the clarity session tab, and you can get the details about the services that I offer. And you can book a session with me, schedule a session with me, self-book a session right from our website. Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, I do another Facebook Live on the Earl Purdy page in front of a live audience, but I also live stream it. That's Sundays at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page. On Thursdays, which is what this is, I do Hardcore Course in Miracles, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I love what I do. The one time in my life, the one time that I feel like I'm actually doing the right thing at the right time, the right way, is when I allow my body to be used by love, to be used by higher power to deliver a message. The Course in Miracles says a minister is a messenger. Is a messenger. And so I want to be as pure a channel as I can for this message for those who are sent to me and who resonate with me, because you are as much a blessing and a healing to me as I could be a blessing and a healing to you. And I'm grateful to you. I appreciate you, especially those who want to go deeper, who are sincere, who are ready to really be on this other path, this path where there is no loss, the path where there is no sacrifice, the path where there is no deprivation, the path where there is total fulfillment and peace and joy. And so, here we go. Let me do a quick little review of what we covered. Listen, watch this 4 times, and please share it. Please share it. I need your help. We're in this together. And the thought that we want to say is this thought. Here we go. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. What does that mean? That means I will let truth lead the way. The Course interchanges God, truth, reality, and love. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and let love lead the way. I will step back and now let me say it for you. You will step back and let God lead the way. Step back and let God lead the way. Step back and let the Course lead the way. Step back and let the Course lead the way. Step back and let Spirit lead the way. Step back and let Spirit lead the way. Step back and let God lead the way. Step back and let God lead the way. Step back and let Jesus lead the way. Step back and let Jesus lead the way. Step back and let Spirit lead the way. Step back and let Spirit lead the way. Step back and let the universe lead the way. Step back and let the universe lead the way, and go, I will step back and let Him lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. You will step back and let God lead the way. That is your theme. I will step back and let God lead the way. I will step back and let God lead the way. So what is your assignment? Well, if you say you want God to lead the way, then that means you're going to give your spiritual path attention and study. It means you're going to go back over this lesson, and you're going to go through the whole lesson. I'm going to eventually go through the whole lesson. But if you're letting Spirit lead the way, then that means you're going to have to remember what Spirit is teaching you. And in the Course in Miracles, if that's your path, then that's where the information from higher power is located for you. For you. May not be for everybody else. So if you're going to step back and let truth and love lead the way, it means that you are going to remember that there's a way of living in this world, and that the people who are like you, they're going to recognize you. The people who are not like you, they're going to think you are like them. And that you have chosen to let the truth lead you instead of the world leading you, your ego leading you. You're going to realize that people who are not ready for this level of awareness, they can't learn directly from the truth. They can't learn directly from you. So in most cases, you're just going to be quiet, and you're going to think the truth around your friends and relatives and the people that you're around. Because you will be aware enough to know that those that you're supposed to be sharing directly with will be people who are sent by love, who are open and receptive and not defensive and attacking. You need a teacher, I need a teacher. And our teacher sees our ego, sees our madness, and sees our insanity, but looks beyond it to the truth and the love in us. And that's what you have to do with the people around you. You're on another path. You're on the path that leads away from loss of every kind, for sacrifice and deprivation are both quickly left behind. You walk this path as others walk, nor do you seem to be distinct from them, although you are indeed. Thus can you serve them while you serve yourself, and set their footsteps on the way that God has opened up to you and them through you. Illusion still seems to cling to you, that you may reach them. Illusion, false ideas, the body still appears to cling to you, that you may reach others. Yet illusion, the ego, yet it has stepped back. And it is not illusion that they hear you speak of what you say. It is not illusion that they hear you speak of. No illusion that you bring their eyes to look on and their minds to grasp. Nor can the truth which walks ahead of you speak to them through illusions. Nor can the truth which walks ahead of you speak to them through illusions, through false ideas. Because the road leads past illusions and fear now. While on the way, you call to others, to them, that they may follow you. Thank you, mighty companion. You are a blessing to me. Let me tell you, to be able to share A Course in Miracles that I love so much, that 34 years ago I decided to walk out of a very high-paying corporate job to follow what my guidance told me I was supposed to be doing on the planet, and the promises that I would be taken care of, provided for, if I fulfill my function, that I would be given what I need to stay. That's straight out of the Course in Miracles. That's not something that I made up. So I want you to find your path. You are here also to be a teacher and a demonstrator. And if you want to see your life become easier, if you want to see more blessings come your way, then just be willing to learn how to step back and let higher power, God, love, lead the way. And I'm here to help you do that, and you're here to help others do that. But you can't give people what you don't have. So if you don't have truth, if you don't have joy, if you don't have peace, if you don't have love, how can you give it or share it with someone else? So your first responsibility is to remove all the blocks in your own thinking and your conditioning that keeps you believing what the world of separation and guilt has taught you. The world is an illusion. It's a false idea. What you are seeing is a world full of false ideas. And what do I mean by that? You're looking at a world that's full of the false ideas based on the idea that we're separate, and that we're separate from each other, and that we're separate from God, and that we're separate from love, and that we're in competition with each other, which isn't true. So anyway, I love you, I appreciate you, and I will see you the next time. May the Course be with you, and sign up for my contact list.